The Miracle Feast. Jesus feeds 5,000. It was a warm, sunny day, and Jesus and his disciples were tired from their long journey. They had been traveling far and wide, teaching people about God's love, healing the sick, and spreading hope wherever they went. Crowds followed them everywhere, eager to hear Jesus speak and see the miracles he performed. But now, Jesus and his disciples needed a break. "Let's go to a quiet place where we can rest for a while," Jesus suggested. They climbed into a small boat and set sail across the sparkling Sea of Galilee, looking forward to some peace and quiet. But the people were so eager to be near Jesus that they ran along the shore, keeping their eyes on the boat. By the time Jesus and his disciples reached the other side, a huge crowd had already gathered, waiting for him. When Jesus saw the crowd, his heart overflowed with compassion. He knew they had come because they needed him. They were like lost sheep searching for a shepherd. So even though he was tired, Jesus began to teach them about God's kingdom. He spoke in a way that made the mysteries of heaven seem close and real, filling their hearts with hope and wonder. As the day wore on, the sun began to dip low in the sky, and the disciples started to worry. "Master," they said, "it's getting late. We're in the middle of nowhere, and these people haven't eaten all day. We should send them away so they can buy food in the nearby villages." But Jesus had a different plan. He smiled and said, "You give them something to eat." The disciples were shocked. "But Jesus," they replied, "we don't have enough food to feed all these people. There are more than 5,000 men here, not to mention the women and children. It would take a fortune to buy enough bread for everyone." Jesus looked at them with a calm, knowing gaze and asked, "How many loaves of bread do you have? Go and find out." The disciples spread out through the crowd, searching for food. Finally, they found a young boy who had brought his lunch, a humble offering of 5 small loaves of bread and 2 tiny fish. It wasn't much, but it was all they had. The disciples brought the food to Jesus, unsure of what he could possibly do with such a small meal. But Jesus took the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and with a heart full of gratitude, he looked up to heaven and gave thanks to God. Then he broke the bread into pieces and handed it to his disciples to share with the crowd. He did the same with the fish. The disciples began to distribute the food, still puzzled at how such a small amount could possibly feed everyone. And then something extraordinary happened. As the disciples handed out the bread and fish, the food multiplied before their eyes. No matter how many people they served, the baskets never ran out. The loaves kept appearing, the fish kept coming, and everyone in the crowd, more than 5,000 men, plus women and children, ate until they were completely satisfied. When the meal was over, Jesus told his disciples to gather the leftovers so that nothing would be wasted. They went around with baskets, collecting the remaining pieces of bread and fish. And to their amazement, they filled 12 baskets with the leftovers. The people were astonished by what they had just experienced. They realized that Jesus wasn't just any teacher. He was someone special, someone who could do the impossible. They knew that God's power was at work in him, and they were filled with awe and gratitude. This miraculous meal became more than just a story of bread and fish. It was a powerful reminder that, with Jesus, there is always enough. No matter how little we have, when we place it in God's hands, it can become something extraordinary. Jesus showed everyone that day that God's love and provision are limitless, and that even in the most impossible situations, faith can turn the smallest offering into a miracle. The end.